Just like Sorfang is not done fighting for the Horde yet, we're not done casting these China games for you guys yet either, because we have more series coming right up in a bit. Tetcher, would you like to introduce to us the next two teams that are about to face one another?
It's the teams at the bottom of the table. It is KT versus TeamNut. TeamNut, they had a bit of a rough season last phase, and it doesn't look like it's improving much this phase, where they already have yet to achieve a single point. KT, though, not much better. A single 1-1, one solitary point.
The curse of Timeless, it just continues, unfortunately. I would really like to see him do well on his team with KT and his friends in Tau, but up to this point, it just seems to be the case of KT not really doing badly by any means. It's not like they're getting stomped around 24/7 by all the other teams, but there's just this little something, this little spark that is currently lacking for them to really ignite a big fire. However, as you said, against TeamNut, even for them, this is a must-win situation. If they don't win against TeamNut, I don't think they can hope to achieve any points against any of the other teams anytime soon. So there's a lot of innies, but TeamNut, they themselves, they need those points because they're yet sitting at 0.
Yeah, if either of these teams want any point, any chance of not only getting to BlizzCon, but dodging the Crucible, then they need to start getting some points on the board, and this is going to be the chance for TeamNut to try and do so. This is, like you said, this is their best chance, their best opponent. Same here for KT. Are either of them going to be able to do it?
That is the question, man. Can they do it? And as often, these duels at the bottom, as I want to call it, you know, these two teams currently being so far cast off the other teams in the league, those always have a special charm to watch because those teams, they're really fighting with everything they've got. Armed to the teeth, they enter this series today because they need a three-pointer. A tie, let's face it, is not going to help any of them. They need to make a big leap towards, getting points in because, as you said, dodging the Crucible is quite crucial. Both teams were actually able to avoid it last time around because they are being represented in this phase yet again. However, you only have so much luck and tenacity, right, to make it out of the Crucible again. And China as a region as a whole has seen many new teams actually take down the pro teams from the amateur scene.
Exactly, like you said, there's only so many times you can get lucky, there's only so many times you can survive, as it were. In this case, we are going to see, right now, Mercy, significantly higher score than Lotus, at least for the moment, but we see Valor still being the higher priority pick for Lotus. Once again, he's been around for a while in the scene at this point.
He actually has been around for quite some time, hasn't he? And we are taking things to Infernal Shrines once again. This is a pretty standard map, not too snowbally, should have plenty of comeback possibilities enabled here, that's for sure. Banned are Tomb and Braxis, by the way. Looks really like China considers Tomb at this point to be one of the more snowbally and uncomfortable maps for them. So if you're watching this from a different region, you're a pro player, you're going to make it to BlizzCon, you can already tell that you probably want to take those Chinese teams to Tomb of the Spirit Queen because, first of all, they have very little practice on that battleground. And secondly, that goes hand in hand with that. They don't really seem to like it and perform too well on this battleground.
Seemingly so, but Battlefield, on the other hand, this is a map that is kind of avoided by some of the European teams that China seems to like very, very much. So then, starting off with Diablo bans and a nice little Genji ban stuck in there as well.
Absolutely true. So, are we going to see some white main bans? She was actually... Yep, there it is. I was going to say. Yeah. She was actually pretty much ignored as a first ban up to this point. Let's see what we're going to see here. Beautiful white jerseys, by the way, for TeamNut yet again. We saw them in the previous, the black and yellow ones. Now the black and white. They're probably the only team still in HGC that has two jerseys to fall back on, right?
Tempo Storm does. They have a white and a pink jersey.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we actually have more jerseys to celebrate with Roll20. Only very recently making it back into the HGC Europe.
That's true.
And them actually getting a win too. Super solid.
Indeed. Very, very cool seeing them get that win. Was watching it, I was like, well, this is unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely. Against Method, hello?
Yeah, Snitch had the best tweet where it was just like, and let it be known, no one defeats Roll20 10 times in a row. No, made me giggle a bit. Maiev sneaking through the picks and bans. Hanzo being higher prioritized because of his race potential here, allowing KT to pick up that Maiev. But here comes a Yrel. Control of that top lane going to be priority for TeamNut.
Oh, for sure. And they need to be on their tippy toes here, TeamNut, that is. If they fall victim to the hands of Maiev early on, getting, you know, tethered and umbral bound all the time, they could be in for some trouble. Because Maiev in China, we've seen her decide games pretty early up to this point, whenever she made it through.
Malthael sneak through, one of the few heroes who can kind of lane against Yrel, at least kind of consistently. And if they go for Tormented Souls, they could very much capitalize on the Umbral Bind of the Maiev, so we might see that combo coming in.
All right, very aggressive Tetcher. Could this be a wombo combo setup here with the Warden's Cage or Tormented Souls? What else could you put in there? Honestly, you could even see the Tyrael here. Oh, never mind. It was just banned. There we go. Super cool to see. I was about to say, Tyrael would have made so much sense here. Not only do you lay the foundation with a nice cage, but you basically make sure that you can't even be stopped from executing the follow-up. So yeah, good thinking by TeamNut, that's for sure.
So now what do they bring out?
Also picked it themselves, though, if you think about it, right?
The Tyrael? It turns out, I guess they wanted something else. The Johanna, a little bit more of a standard pick with Diablo gone. That sort of leaves Garrosh and Muradin. Johanna does reasonably against both, so instead of taking the risk of having it against you, bring out the Johanna. It still synergizes well with the Reyna due to the shield smash. So overall, pretty solid.
Yeah, I guess Johanna is the safer choice, as you said. Doesn't require as much, you know, of a timing, mechanically simpler to play than Tyrael for sure as well. With Tyrael, you always have that one misplay window, and when you do that, you basically ruin the team fight for your team. You place the Sanctification a little bit too far away, you're going to lose the team fight against Maiev. We've actually seen that last week in the past on Cursed Hollow, I believe. So yeah, they seem to try and minimize the risks they could possibly undergo during a team fight by taking Johanna. Iron Skin really good against Maiev. Junkrat, even more disengaged, and Mayhem. You know what, Tetcher? I'm not really hating the draft by TeamNut. I think they have a lot of tools to actually keep both Maiev and Malthael in check.
The Junkrat should give them a lot of disruption, which is going to give Garrosh a little bit of grief, seeing as he already is going to have to use his Indomitable on several other targets, so that is solid. But he is still a little bit vulnerable to some of the damage from Reyna. He doesn't exactly have the highest health pool, so he is going to have to stay further back and safe. So, poke damage on the Immortal, the Junkrat definitely assists, because obviously he has a much longer range, but Kael'thas could still be very reasonable here if he's kept safe by the Garrosh.
Very true. Now, Tetcher, how do you like the draft coming in from KT here? Very aggressive, but that's kind of what we're used to seeing from them. Do you think they have what it takes to maybe pressure the Nuts enough to walk away with those points?
It's pretty reasonable. I think their draft, even with the Kael'thas, is potentially a little bit more standard. Certainly gives them some good options for engages. So I like the lockdown blow-up potential of KT. Even with the disruption of Junkrat, I still think they might be able to pick up enough kills to maybe get a snowball or two. I am concerned about the positioning of TeamNut, so I'm leaning for KT.
Right. It's one thing to draft well against what the enemy team has. It's one thing to have all that disengage, to have all these escaping tools in theory, but it's a completely different story to also execute them during a team fight at the exact right location, at the exact right time. So let's see if TeamNut proves to be too resilient for their opponents to crack, or if KT is actually going to take this home with all the aggression that they have mustered in that draft. On the left-hand side, in the blues on Infernal Shrines, we're going to see the team known as TeamNut, represented by Mercy. Then we have Atui, Malthael, Nightmare, and Dia.
And on the right, it is KT, Kudos top with TWTWT, Kiaru, Lotus, Timeless, and the Bad.
Bad, formerly known as Andre, for those of you who watched the mid-season brawl and saw him in the roster of The One. So, pretty experienced player nonetheless, I would say. Definitely no beginner, no rookie. Let's see, Yrel is still holding to her level 1, although that should still be Marad's inside. Well, let's see.
Quite likely. for now, though. Other talents that are still more usual. We're seeing the Sapphire coming in for the Deck of Cain, empowering that Rainer Ace in the hole, which is the level 1. And we have On a Pale Horse coming in from the Malthael, giving him that rotational ability.
Yeah, absolutely. So helps him out to double soak more efficiently and more quickly, right? Which is always a nice thing to have as a solo laner. Also, we've seen some really cool plays in the late game in which Malthael would oftentimes revive immediately thanks to his level 20, and then On a Pale Horse jump back into the action so much more quickly than anyone else could. So yeah, lots of utility for that talent, aside from the fact that you're just going to be, you know, faster all across the board.
Johanna assisting the team in the wave clear as fast as possible. Kiaru gets a free hit, but it eats an Avenging Wrath for it, so I guess it's the opposite of 3. Thanks, Brain. And you can see Dire using the most of that Avenging Wrath as wave clear. This is where it can just be so effective.
And this is basically where, as an Irel player, you can become really aggressive when Malthael is running out of minions to sap additional life from, right? The moment the minions are gone, you can really go toe-to-toe against him, because from just one target, from just one hero, the self-sustain from Malthael is normally not going to be enough to actually keep it up with the damage from Irel. Whereas if he has many targets to juice his life drain from, then you're probably going to get out-sustained as an Irel.
Bot lane. Being taken by KT is spotted by Nightmare, but there's no reaction from the rest of TeamNut as they are concerned about the Garrosh Maiev, especially with a Kael'thas ready to set up for that, so it makes sense that they pull back. Dia not able to demount Malthael, not taking the On a Pale Horse into account when aiming that Avenging Wrath.
Already got the value, Kiara, that is, and now he is actually going to have to be a little more careful nonetheless, because Mercy's already here. Is he going to drop that concussion mine in time? It is there, but the angle is not good enough. If he had dropped that closer to the gate, that would have been a kill for sure.
Completely true, but in this case, another escape by Malthael, who is almost certainly going for Tormented Souls, by the way, as he does pick up that Black Harvest coming in here. This is very much a wombo combo style here with that Maiev Garrosh.
Very true. You just try to spread that out as much as you can. And the more heroes you actually have within your trade or within your debuff, the longer it takes, the more you're going to get value from it. Meantime, though, the Fallen Shamans have been unleashed for both teams, but I think the one by KT might get more value because it has a larger minion wave surrounded. Let's see if it's in range of the towers, though. The towers might be the saving grace here for TeamNut, as it is, though. Purple Punisher, Arcane 1 unlocked. That is one you don't want to give up just like that.
Exactly, but already a head start for TeamNut as they begin to get forced off, though. They're once again still scared of that combo. Rainer moves too far forward. Malthael gets pushed in. Dragon Queen is popped very early here by TWT as they move forward. Malthael's looking to try and gain some more stacks, but Junkrat Disruption is being incredibly annoying. Pre-heroics. TeamNut are at least holding their own, 20-16.
The wave fear is solid with Johanna and Junkrat here for TeamNut, although they don't really seem to be able to threaten their opponents. They keep up in skeleton count, 27-26. One of the teams is going to have to make a big move here. Nightmare dropping so low already. Kiaru spreading his trade, but the damage just isn't sufficient enough up to this point. Still a little bit of a lead for TeamNut.
Timeless drops so low, sneaks away on 49 armor as TeamNut, though, they steal the Punisher. They might lose a 2v for it. They've already lost Johanna a 2v1 last potion escapes. That is a Punisher for a kill.
Totally worth it for TeamNut, though, if you ask me. Not only were they able to win this objective, but also look at that. None of the members of KT was actually able to split, so Time was actually on the run from the big boy. Almost too close to Rainer and Deckard, but he remains safe for now. And not an ideal leash. Look at that. Not all the towers, not even the fort was firing on that Punisher all the time. So the value, the structural value is actually going to be significantly higher than it should have been.
But they are going to be able to at least burn through that Punisher. The idea of pulling it over is actually just to defend it in a safer position. But in this case, very few people actually pushed with it, so they got away with that without too much, only losing a single tower.
Yeah, it was okay after all for TeamNut, because I probably forgot about how low TeamNut was in the first place, so they couldn't immediately reinforce that push, as you said. Experience-wise, KT seems to be doing pretty okay as well, so not too many hits were taken. It looked a little worse than it actually was, in fact. So let's see, though, KT not winning objectives, if they can maybe apply some additional pressure onto the heroes here. Heroes like Maiev in their roster, they can certainly apply on that. And the same identical build, by the way, up to this point, Tetcher, on KT, compared to Beyond the Game that we saw in Game 1.
That it is, at least for the moment. We are also seeing the Blessed Momentum coming in for the Johanna, which is a little bit more unique, at least when it comes to these days. This camp is taken once again by KT. The anti-healing for the Malthael here. Of course, wants to get in there and try and ruin the deck. It doesn't prevent the shields from the shield potions, but it can still gain a huge amount of value if there's already potions set around the objective. You can get a good one in. It's going to prevent a huge amount of healing from Rainer as well. Prevents
Urel too.
Value. Yep, Urel too.
And I really like the foresight, you know, the prediction skills of Johanna here at that point. She probably realized that Malthael was likely going to go for that anti-healing touch of death at level 7, so she didn't even take the Laws of Hope, right? She went for the additional shielding value and cooldown reduction onto Johanna. So the shields are definitely going to be more reliable in that game. Really like the cool, fine little detailed adjustments that we see from players on this level every now and then. So good thinking by Nightmare on the Johanna.
So then, with a nice little interrupt onto Timeless, who's just going to disrupt the rotation here. No hard commitment, Kikasha Mine. It disrupts the rotation in counter, though, of KT, sorry. And this is, once again, the second series in a row where we're having a very low kill count at the start of the series, as level 10 is finally hit, though, for KT. This is where they can start to make movements. We're sticking with the Phoenix here, as opposed to Pyroblast. They want a more immediate reaction to the Wombo combo. This should 100% be a Warden's Cage for the Maiev, and it should be the Warden's Cage. It should be a Tormented Souls for the Malthael to actually synergize with his Black Harvest.
I think so, too. Black Harvest, AoE, damage galore to really stack that one up to deal additional damage as well, because as good as Malthael's auto attacks are, the most reliable spread still comes from Tormented Souls, so they're hiding it still. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe a situational change may require the last rites, you know, when you have a target that's about to die and you really want to get that in, but as Tetra said, it should be, under normal circumstances, be the Tormented Souls. Timeless not blindly face checking, drives a Groundbreaker into that.
They take positioning a little bit early, but Urel's in position to try and steal some, but Kael'thas too fast, at least at this moment. So if they find an isolated target, we might have seen Malthael get the quick pick, but like you said, instead he's already picked up the Tormented Souls. Maiev does not find the target, just lets the Vengeful Spirit return.
Yeah, good zoning. Phoenix here completely driving a wedge here between Urel and the remaining team members, but with that Divine Steed, she has exceptional ability to actually keep the enemies at bay and maybe bait a couple of cooldowns onto her as well. The taunt goes through and KT's committed.
Tormented Souls, big dropper, Riptire hits everyone, but they're tanking through it. It burned the entire duration of the Tormented Souls, though. Getting zero value, but Maiev, all the resets here, picks up the double kill.
And that's exactly what every Maiev player is dreaming about, right? You have that choke point. The enemy team is on the run, but can't really run away from each other because of that terrain not allowing it. And you just drop reset after reset. Look at that. Lotus is not done with its shady business. Tries to maybe go for a cheeky flank. Timeless for a moment thought about maybe trying to go after Deckard, but he remembers the main goal for KT right now is actually to get those buildings. Oh, cheeky play here by Urel. She gets away, and that is going to be the first fort of the game, it seems, here in favor of KT. The Nuts, after a good first team fight, first objective, they seem to struggle a little more now.
They do, but they're still not out of it yet. They've only lost a single fort, as we've said. They are, however, over a level and a half behind. So this is where things can start to get difficult, because they are a talent behind. KT are just going to keep getting further ahead, grabbing mercenaries, maybe looking for another fort with this talent advantage they already have.
All right, interesting choice also here by Kael'thas, going for the cooldown reduction at level 13 as to the additional bomb spread radius, which is sometimes picked to spread those more powerful bombs thanks to the level 7 Sun King's Fury. So definitely more bombs, you know, is going to be useful as well. I like both of those talents respectively, given the fact that they have 3 backliners, actually TeamNut that is. Chances of spreading the bombs are not really that high. So if it were, let's say, a throw in the mix instead of the Junkrat, right, adding additional melee presence to TeamNut, I think the Fissure might have been nice. The Fission Bomb. Yep.
Yeah, that's actually what we see all last game, where Kael'thas was picked. You actually did bring out the Fishing Bomb, but we did not mention it. But in this case, like you said, Pyromania is a little bit more standard, especially once you get the Ignite at level 60.
Oh, yeah. Because not only does it drop the or lower the cooldown of your living bomb, but it applies that to all basic abilities of Kel'Thas, which makes the Ignite at level 16, applying the bombs after Flame Strikes landing, so much more powerful.
So then, with KT controlling the map right now, they are even going to move around, see if they can find someone. I don't think the minions saw them. They're going to try and move it for Junkrat, but it's Junkrat. It's just so mobile.
Yeah, Junkrat is so mobile, and the spider senses of Johanna were tingling as well. Dropped a shield glare into that bush. So kudos to TeamNut. It definitely doesn't seem to be the lack of map awareness that is causing a couple of issues. I think it's more like their team fighting and the indecisiveness sometimes that they have. Look at that. They're so scared right now. They don't really seem to know what they're supposed to do. At any given point, there could be a Maiev lurking in the shadows. There could be a Malthael spooping out and saying hello. So I really love that due to that aggressive draft and some really good team fighting in the most recent past, KT have instilled so much fear into their opponents' hearts.
And with that fear, they will take control. Level 16 will likely also be online before the next objective. Almost certainly so, as they are moving up to find. So somewhere top is the late. Dia does not realize there's that many people here, but luckily reinforcements were coming, which allows KT to back up.
Okay, that could have actually gone terribly wrong if his teammates hadn't been so close. They also want to wait for the 16 here. KT, that is, of course, going to be a pretty significant power spike for both KT and Malthael, actually, who's going to go for that Memento Mori, I believe, which will deal additional damage.
Should do so indeed. Capitalizes more on that damage output. But will they, is the question. As we already see, KT once again pushing in bot lane, looking for their second fort, while Malthael solos the objective. TeamNut going to respond by trying to get a big boost in XP. They want to try and approach level 16 as soon as possible. This fort is a great way to do that.
Thing is, don't let them get the keep just for free. Like, losing your secondary tower defense line is already terrible, it's already bad as it is, but you don't want to let them get free damage onto the keep. But what is TeamNut doing here? Are they fully committed? They do have a mercenary camp pushing with them, Fallen Shamans being a valuable asset. But during all this, look at that, Thatcher. Malthael, the hero actually, not the player on the side of TeamNut, did finish the altar, sorry, the Infernal Shrine. As it is, they're now going to have to go back. That actually they force back to defending. This is a nice 5 versus 4 situation now. Never mind. Urel's still in the middle.
Urel's on the way, though. She was trying to soak level 16 for them and got them very close. But
16 here, almost.
Wave, not too far away. They were close, but they weren't able to do it.
I think Urel might actually drop a pretty sick flank here the moment they turn 16. She's trying just to get a little bit of extra XP and not really sure what to do right now. She's actually going to see KT in her vicinity relatively soon as well. It takes so long, Thatcher.
Yeah, but the keep is already dropping down. They have a little bit of XP. KT does arrive. Urel is rotating in. Keep will go down. Flame Strike secures that. But now Urel is here at 16 versus 16. This is TeamNut's opportunity to try and make the play. Blessed Shield will likely have to be the opener. There it goes. Onto Kel'Thas. Moving in, but quick into the fray. This is almost already a disengage. Only Malthael in danger, and he's looking for the turnaround play. Tormented Soul's turned on.
Here he goes, the global help here by Alex Strasser with that cleansing one as well. They now turn around with combined efforts to get rid of that Urel. The Riptar is good, but Malthael is still alive.
It's gonna be Johanna who falls first. The Warden's Cage prevents any more chase. Dia splits off, hovering around the area, but is just gonna leap the wall and retreat back into the base. As KT with a solid turnaround, Malthael being the distraction and the rest of the team killing off the tank.
Yeah, beautiful synergy by the Dragon Queen, of course, and the Cleansing Flame and Malthael. The healing was just enough here to really keep him in that team fight. But also, I need to criticize the indecisiveness that I mentioned earlier by TeamNut yet again. Urel, sure, I get the idea behind it, right? I get the idea of trying to soak 16, but they should have been aware that KT was still top, which would have meant a 5 versus 4 situation, right? True, the Punisher was there, but with a 5-man defense, they could have actually kept that keep alive for a little bit longer, I feel like. This was just too much respect, maybe, yet again, by TeamNut here, and as such, KT didn't get an easy keep, but a keep nonetheless, and that is permanent damage that they now can capitalize from.
Yeah, catapults will group up. There's already actually impalers in that lane as well, which will accumulate with the catapults, so everything will be in a decent position. Johanna says hello to Timeless, who has to pop the Indomitable. Actually doesn't escape the route, but is still near enough to his team now that he's not in any immediate danger. Here comes the Abundance.
Now looks like TeamNut is trying to launch a team fight here. Blast Shield hitting all members of KT. There goes the Riptire. Kind of in pressure though, Junkrat that has to deal with Lotus in the backline.
We see Dia in full retreat, not in a great position here. Gets a quick heal. You can see that Kiaru is doing some pretty monumental damage. You cannot run from death. Tormented Souls comes in. Memento Mori is online. You can see how much damage is being done. Atui drops low. Timeless is easily able to outplay. He's actually eating a lot of the Hyperion damage, but due to his shield from his Q, he's able to tank through it. Dia is isolated, and Dia will go down.
Timeless anticipating every move. He can read the mind of his opponent there. Super cool to see. And during all of that, TeamNut is also getting pressured by 3 Impalers and 3 Catapults. Good thing Mercy is back to business, though. The shield is probably going to survive here. Good concussion mine as well, so the keep will actually fire into those as well. But as it is, the disaster is still real against TeamNut. KT dominating the team fight, getting kills, getting an objective as well. The top lane, that is kind of the saving grace for TeamNut right now, because that is still the healthiest lane they have available.
That it is. So now, Fort going to be absolutely decimated before the Punisher even spawns. Very smart move by KT, able to set up in advance. Nice little play here by Timeless. Flip the Fallen Shaman out of tower range. So it gets another Hound off so that it survives even longer. This is an incredibly clever move.
Yeah, he also tried to body block the minion, the mercenary, sorry, at least to a little degree here. So it would stay away from those towers as much or as long as possible, as you said, Tetcher. Really cool to see Timeless go for these mini micromanagement plays. Also, what I liked about their move here is that they were actually destroying this fort before the Arcane Punisher was unleashed, because that means some additional health is going to be saved on the objective. It'll go straight for that keep, straight for that last tower standing in top lane. And this is definitely a game-winning situation for KT. If they find a pick or two, if they make those stacked up deaths a reality for TeamNut, that is certainly going to be a core.
They're going to certainly try. Timeless is in position. You can see Nightmare, though, frontlining. Already pops the Iron Skin, trying to pull the Punisher to mid lane. Actually does so pretty well. Junkrat's not here yet. He's still porting. Finally makes it back to base. So he is now here for this defense as Timeless continues to harass Nightmare.
Just can't really seem to put the pressure onto KT. All of their health bars are still looking mighty decent. Dia actually the one getting dropped right now. Does he have the Ardent Defender? Used it a little too late in my opinion. His health cannot recover. And speaking of recovering, I think all hope is lost for TeamNut. They're losing the healer. They're using Nightmare, the main tank as well. No defenses left, and I think that core is about to be cracked.
The Tormented Souls absolutely decimated the backline. Riptide comes in, does a little bit of damage, but Kiaru is still healthy. Timeless is healthy. Bad is basically untouched here as the Punisher moves onto the core. They begin focusing it down, and that will be game number 1, going over to Kudos Top.
Trying to work a little bit on that KDA, chasing after enemy heroes when all you need to do is basically just right-click the core. KT here with an almost flawless execution of their composition. They only lost 1 fort in the top lane, but from start to finish, you could see how their confidence grew, how their team fighting was just so much better, getting better and better. Yeah, especially Tetra. Gotta say it, Maiev, Malthael, pretty good to have in your team, pretty dangerous.
It was a good combo, worked out very effectively for them. They didn't even actually get the full combo off. It was just the amount of disruption they were able to deal, and Malthael being a great distraction for the backline. With the lack of damage, immediate blow-up potential, and immediate single-target lockdown TeamNut had, Malthael had too much freedom to continue to spam Q and stay alive. So it was an incredibly effective and well-executed draft by KT.
Yeah, also got to give it to TWT, a support player that we normally don't talk too much about, but he has had a really good game on that Alex Strasser. I feel like the Cleansing Flames in particular were always on point to support the targets in need. Could have been the Maiev, could have been the Malthael, and many a time where I thought Malthael may have actually overdone it a little bit by going in too deep into the enemy team's backline. That's when the Cleansing Flame arrived just in the nick of time. So shoutouts to TWT. Despite adding another TWT to his nickname, which makes it absurdly hard to pronounce. But yeah, good stuff for KT. That is the game, the series they need to win if they want to somehow avoid falling down to the Crucible yet again.
KT now have a minimum of 2 points total, including the ones they already have.
Yeah.
If they win, they'll move up to 4, which I don't think will move them up the table. I will check.
Not yet, I believe.
Nope, it will put them 1 point behind the A team.
And the A team, of course, has to play their series today as well. And I believe they're going to face... No, it's not going to be CE. They might face the 1, I believe. Could that be correct?
Who the A team, sorry?
Yeah, A team who plays in the second half of the broadcast.
They play against TeamNut.
Wow! That is an important one for both teams then, yet again.
Yeah, the A team could begin to move themselves up into the upper half of the table. And TeamNut, they still need points. They need them from anywhere and everywhere they can. And currently, the A team sit in 6th position, aka the next most accessible team outside of KT if you go by just points.
Tetra, if you look at that, right? If you look at today's schedule for TeamNut, KT and the A team, it's not going to get any easier than that for them. So that means they're going to play CE, SBT, the 1, and BTG in those future play days. And those are going to be some pretty formidable opponents. So let's see